It's a Star War. We're starting the stream. It's the live stream. All right, we're live. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Welcome to the live stream. I'm your host, Tony D, and this is my sidekick, Little Joan. Little Joan was a little mad at me earlier. Kind of rushed through the walkies, but had to get back here in time, and Joan was taking her good old time. All right. So, not a whole lot to talk about today. Nothing much has changed other than the box office, so we'll get into that. Go through the trades, see what's going on, and I'm sure someone will have some wonderful suggestions, as my viewers often do. But as we wait for people to get in here, I will tell you about my week. What did I do this week? This week, what the heck did I do? I did an event on Thursday. What was that? I think that was a library event. I can't even remember now. Let me check my schedule from that time period. It was a Pennsville Book Club, yeah. So, that was okay. I'd never done a book club before. Clint Miller's here. Tony, good to see you. Good to see you, Clint. That was out, though, in a really cool park called Fort Mont Park. It's all the way down south on the coast, like the south coast of New Jersey. We do have a south coast. Clint says hi, Little Joe. Clint says hi. And so it was a nice setting. I was a little worried about the rain, but it didn't rain. Then yesterday I did Richland Antique Show at Shoreline Vintage Collectibles. And that was a good day. That was a pretty good day for me. Rock solid. It was a bit weird. It was hot. And then the Kona ice truck came halfway through the show. And I was like, oh man, Kona shaved ice. I'm going to get some of that if I sell 30 books. And I got to 29. But even before I got to 29, the truck left early. After selling everybody ice, I guess he ran out of ice and left. Saved my money. Then today I did Nerdfest down in Swedesboro, New Jersey, and that was fun. Met some nice people there. I got to go through a whole list of things this weekend. People were inviting me to shows, telling me about things I got to know about. It's nuts. The amount of people I got to contact this week. It's nuts. So next thing for me is Labor Day weekend. I've got two shows. I'm going to the Cherry Street Pier in Philadelphia on Friday the 1st. And then I'm going to Berwyn, PA for the farmers market there. Oh, JEC is here. Hi. Ryan Citro is here. Hello, Ryan Citro. So that's about my weekend. It was pretty good. I just made my bills. It was one of those weekends. August is a little tough to sell books in South Jersey because everybody goes to the shore, and I didn't have any shore events this year. Last year I had a great one. I was right on the boardwalk. Clint Miller, good evening, JEC and Ryan. Right on the boardwalk last year. Oh, it was sweet. But couldn't get that going this year. But hopefully soon. There's still time. September is our late summertime. You can still go to the shore. These days you can. I bet you could go to the shore in October. But the shore is the deal here in South Jersey when it's hot. I did the Hamilton Fringe Festival on the 19th, and the weather was perfect, but a lot of people didn't show up. Everybody went down the shore. Anyhow, let's get into it. The box office. So not a bunch of huge surprises, but a lot of shifting and turning here. First up, Gran Turismo opens at 17.3, which is okay, I guess, based on a true story. Paul Chato watched this and said it was good. Did 36.5 internationally. So another David Arbor movie's doing okay, I guess. Kind of wondering how much this cost them, but it is technically a video game. I mean, I don't know. Racing games are always incredibly boring to me. Like, unless I can crash the car into the crowd, I'm not, or pull out a gun and start shooting the other drivers. What am I going to play a racing game for? It just, I'm not a gearhead, you know. The most boring thing in Grand Theft Auto to me was going into the garage and modifying my ride. I was like, great. I can be slightly faster. You know, unless you're going to put rockets on the side of your car, laser guns, I'm not interested. But some people are into it, I guess. So it looks like it was based on a true story, I guess. That they let some kid who played video games really well race a car and he's still racing. I didn't know it was real. Ryan, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. What about it, Ryan? What about it? Gran Turismo, I mean, 17's not a lot, but I guess it's okay. Depends on how much they spent on this thing. Probably not a whole lot because it doesn't have that many effects. I'm sure it has a few effects on the cars, but David Arbor and Orlando Bloom's probably cost more in this movie, and just the cars. Number 2 is Barbie finally dethroned, but just barely. I mean, Barbie did 17.1. It almost stayed at number 1 again. How embarrassing would that have been for Gran Turismo? So this is finally starting to peter out, I guess. $1.3 billion. Yeah. They're going to do sequels. I don't know. I don't think the sequels will do well, but I didn't think this one would do well. Ryan Citro, all Nuketown for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Ryan, are you okay? I'm reading your sentences, but I'm not understanding what you're asking or telling us. All Nuketown for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. All Nuketown. Do you mean nuke it? Like it's terrible? I mean, it is pretty terrible. Is there any good scenes in the Indiana Jones? Maybe like before he survives a nuclear explosion? Ryan Citro. Yeah. Oh, okay. Harry, the human substitute, Arankar is here. Tony, been a while since I've heard from me. What? Tony, been a while since I've heard from me. Wanted to tell you some good news. Oh, welcome, Harry. Tell yourself that good news, Harry. Ryan Citro. Yeah. Harry, I canceled my Lotus Eater subscription to save money for a ring. Congratulations. Harry, stopped hating myself and blaming myself for everything that goes wrong with my family. Took a while, granted, but still, I will propose to her when she's visiting England. Well, that's nice. Good for you, Harry. I wish you luck. I'm sure she'll say yes. Well, I'm not sure, but I'm saying something encouraging. Good for you, Harry. Good for you. I hope it works out. I really do. Women love that. They love the proposals. Then you leave your socks on the floor and it's all over. Yeah, so Barbie nearly at number 1, but they're finally starting to take it out of theaters. Looks like. Number 3 is Blue Beetle. Almost. I thought maybe it would drop down to 4, but seems to be Oppenheimer does almost exactly half of what Barbie does. So Oppenheimer did 9 million, Blue Beetle did 12.7, kind of right in the middle between the two. But it's a drop of 49% in its second week. Harry, you've heard from me F my mistake. Sorry. No, I'm just teasing. It's fine. But glad to see things are looking up. Got to need some positive. Got to get some positive news in this world. Positive news. I mean, it's easy to get pissed off at everything. I used to do that all the time. And like this week, I was frustrated because I didn't think I was going to make my monthly nut. And I did. And then I was like, hooray! JEC, Blue Beetle dropped 50%. I called it. You did. I remember you said that. Almost right on the nose there. 49%. So where's that put it? Let's see. 46 million, 46.3 million, 35 international. That is not good. You would think it'd do a little better internationally than that because it has lots of effects in it. And no offense to a lot of foreign viewers, but that seems to be enough a lot of times with foreign films. That it's just a big production with lots of effects. But again, maybe superhero burnout, or maybe it just sucks. Maybe it just sucks. Harry, hey, if a loser like me can find a tomboy waifu anime tomboy girl in real life, then lads, we're all going to make it. Yes. Yes. Good attitude. So yeah, Blue Beetle, 81 million. That doesn't sound great after 2 weeks. So if this trend continues, you're looking at 6 million, 3 million, 1 million. So maybe another 20 million. Maybe you get 100 million out of this, cracks 100 million, and then just peters out if you're lucky. I don't think you're going to sell too many toys. I don't think that people are rushing to buy Blue Beetle action figures. And I would guarantee they're not out going to buy George Lopez action figures. You pull the string and he goes, Batman is a fascist. Batman is a fascist. Batman is a fascist. Harry, and I am sorry to sidetrack, but happy with good news. Please forgive my outburst and all. No, it's fine. It's good to have good news. So yeah, Blue Beetle looks like it's stick a fork in it. It's done. Oppenheimer, 9 million and 777 million. Yeah, it's like almost exactly half of Barbie. JEC, I has a date with a nice kindergarten teacher this week. Seems promising. Oh, good luck to you. Everybody's getting hooked up here. Harry, I'll shut up now. Oh, you can say things, Harry. Good on JEC. I talked to a very nice actress at the show tonight, or today, I should say. I don't know if I had a chance with her, but I sensed that I did. But it wasn't the right moment or whatever. I don't know. I need a little more time. I had to really wind up. So I figure if I see her another show, I might have a shot. I'm not even sure if she's single, but she was cute. But other than that, you know, most of my love life consists of swiping through Tinder and going, none of these girls will call me. I know, Tinder. But, you know, you set the setting low enough, and the girls are super hot. Not that you'll ever meet them. Harry, I can promise more toys would sell if Toys R Us was still a thing. Probably. I don't think Blue Beetle toys would sell in general. It just... Nobody needed this movie. It's just dumb. DC Comics... or DC or Warner Brothers or whatever, they just don't know what they're doing. They stumbled into superhero movies and continue to just fall down the stairs. Ryan Citro, The Nun 2 was released on the anniversary of the death of Queen Elizabeth II. Spooky. It's funny. Now, wait, You retracted it, Ryan. Why would you retract that? So, yeah, I mean, DC should have released... They should have just followed the Marvel model. They should have started with Batman or Superman or both, and then gone to an Aquaman. The Aquaman movie did well. Maybe do a Flash movie. And then do Wonder Woman. They did. And then do a Justice League. Where they, where they do just like in Marvel. They tease the Justice League movie until they do it. And then do the Justice League movie, introduce a handful of characters in that. I mean, Cyborg, I don't understand the fascination with Cyborg at all. I always thought he was a second-tier character at best. I would have rather have seen Green Arrow, even though he's not particularly cool. Even Black Canary. I mean, if you were gonna do it right and get a super hot blonde chick to play Black Canary. Carter Chain is here. I've been without power for 3 days. I got it back just in time to catch the stream. Well, kudos. See, everything's looking up. JC, Cyborg is black. That is all. They got other black characters. Martian Manhunter, he could be black. He could be whatever race he wants to be. He's a shapeshifter. I mean, you could have picked a black actor to play it and made his character black. Nobody would have cared. Harry, they didn't stumble into this. We are talking the same people who made the edgy superhero Looney Tunes. Yeah, that's a thing called Lunatics Unleashed. I don't think I saw that. Ryan Citro, sorry, I did because I put was instead of is because it is 2023 and Queen Elizabeth died on September 8th, 2022. Okay. So you're a week early. Fair enough, Ryan Citro. Ryan Citro. JC, do Black Green Lantern instead of Cyborg? Yeah. That would have been a good choice. And then you could have slowly reintroduced, Green Lanterns correctly, I guess. And eventually slipped Hal Jordan in there somewhere. And maybe explain. And maybe Ryan Reynolds could have come back and actually done it right. You just need a good script. This is everything that's wrong with Hollywood could be solved with good scripts. Pretty much everything. If you had good scripts, good stories, nobody would care about a damn thing that's going on. People would be like, well, yeah, there's a lot of problems, but this movie was pretty good. That's all there. It's the bottom line to everything. If you have a good script, you have everything. Harry, you know what? Disney, do Black Tarzan, you cowards. Do Asian Tarzan. I say, do Asian Tarzan. That would be funny. Then you could work in some kung fu in it. It'd be weird. It'd be very weird. I don't know why. Like, Tarzan is just, it's one of those characters. I don't know why they keep bringing it back. It's just, it was good for its time, and now it's just not. Even when they brought it back, I don't know, the last time, whenever that was. JC, Black Tarzan kind of defeats the purpose of Tarzan. Tarzan's just not a great character, in my view. It's kind of a character of its time. If you're going to do period piece Tarzan, yeah, it kind of works. John Carter of Mars, same kind of deal. It's really a creation of its time. It's kind of just, it would be like trying to do the Shadow in the modern day. It just won't work. It just won't work. It just wouldn't be the same. You got to do it in the time period. And that's my contention with James Bond. Everything wrong with James Bond is, yeah, he's not back in the Cold War where he belongs. And then there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. 6.1 million. This movie did kind of okay. Better than I expected. JC, whole point of Tarzan was a white man turned African wild man. Yep. Pretty much. 98 million domestic, 37 million international, 135. I don't know if this is money. I mean, this is a cartoon, so they're usually more expensive. And this was I know it's stop motion animation, but most of it's probably done with computer anyway, so it's expensive, but it's not that expensive. But I don't know what this cost, but I bet it cost more than 135 million with the advertising. I gotta figure this needs to make like 400 million to break even, something like that. JC, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Oh right, made the money off of toys. I forgot. Yeah, they made $1 billion. $1 billion was the thing. But who made that money? It would be the question. Harry, at JC, him being black defeats the purpose of a man living with apes and raised with them, making him wild. Well, I wasn't going to get that based, but it's just, you know, it's like the English character going down there. It's like the English safari hunter guy times. That's the product of Tarzan. It has to be English safari guys going into the unknown. Like when they wrote that, like Africa was still kind of the unknown. There's things in the jungle we don't know. It's like the Pine Barrens here. It's like people talk about the Pine Barrens. There's roads running all the way through it. But people still talk about the Pine Barrens. Oh man, it's deep in the Pine Barrens. Deep in the Pine Barrens. You walk in one direction in the Pine Barrens for a half hour, you're going to hit a road. Eventually. You'll see a road or you'll see a tower or something. But I mean, there is a lot of woods. There's a couple of places that are hard to get to, but there's a town called Friendship, New Jersey. It's in the middle of the pines. You can only get there by walking to it. You might be able to take a four-wheeler there. And somebody I know was telling me they went in there to Friendship to see it, and then they had kind of an incident where they were overheated and they were kind of freaking out because they did not have a vehicle and had to walk back, but they sat in the shade and drank some water and all was well. But yeah, I mean, it could, like, I'm 57. If I went out to Friendship and started passing out because of the heat, that could be a problem. But I'd probably get a four-wheeler to do it, or I'd just bring lots of water. It's not that hard. But Meg 2, stays at number 6. It was at number 6 last week and is at number 6 this week for its 4th week. 5.1 million. That's not bad for 6th week. Did 74 million domestic, 278 million worldwide. This is at 352. That's money, because there's no way they spent a lot of money on Meg 2. Ryan Citro, I have to go to dinner. See you later. Goodbye, Ryan Citro. Have a nice dinner. Ryan Citro. Have a nice dinner. I had hot dogs. Me and Joan. Joan was very excited. I was mildly excited because they were Nathan's hot dogs, but they were cold. They were from yesterday. So yeah, Meg 2, The Trench. I mean, it has some effects, but Harry still is for the Amazon. People are translating the languages of uncontacted tribes, and in response, locals talked in animal call language, so siders cannot understand. Scary. Interesting. Huh. We were talking about the pines today at my table, and somebody claimed that if you break down in the pine barrens and you run into some pineys, they'll help you fix your truck. But if it's unfixable and you leave your truck there overnight and then come back the next morning, you'll find it stripped of parts. Number 7 is Strays, dropped down from 5. I mean, this is a comedy. In its second week, it only dropped to 40 by 44%, which isn't bad. I mean, 4.6%. This 4.6 million. This looked like a pretty decent movie. I kind of want to see it. It's Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx doing the voices of two of the dogs. And it's not doing well, though. 16 million domestic, 5 million worldwide. It's just not going to do good worldwide because it's a comedy. And it's a shame because it kind of looked funny. What's the name? MacGruber plays the dog's owner. Will Ferrell's a dog, and he plays his owner. And then, but he is a total jerk and keeps trying to abandon the dog, and then finally does. And then it's about Will Ferrell trying to get back to exact his doggy revenge. So I would say it, but it's more like a rental. These days, everything's a rental when you think about it. It's very few movies you want to see on the big screen. Like Strays, I just wouldn't go to the movies unless it was like a bunch of my friends and we were all at, I don't know, at somebody's house, and somebody said, oh, let's go to the movies. Oh, let's go see Strays. That'll be fun. And we all went. Like, that would be a fun night at the movies. Or if, you know, I don't know, maybe a date, like the most awesome date ever, where a girl went, oh, let's go see a comedy movie. Let's go see Strays. I'd be like, what? Okay. That would be my version of a good date. But most people, I think, are just going to, I'll wait. It doesn't have to be on the big screen. But I think it looks funny. It's a rarity these days. We need more comedies. Number 8 at a premiering. Oof. This is Retribution. Another Liam Neeson vehicle. I guess you might as well call this Taken in a Car. Because that's what it is. He's trapped in a car the whole movie. I guess so he doesn't have to run because he's getting old. And the idea is he has to do all these things in a car, or else they're going to blow him up and blow up his kids, because his kids are in the car too. And it's some guy getting his revenge. Matthew Modine makes a brief appearance because he gets blowed up in the beginning. It didn't look bad. But again, I'm not going to the movie theater for this, although it would be decent on the screen. There are explosions at least. But it doesn't look that great. It looks okay. It looks like a normal sort of thriller actioner. At least movies are going back to kind of what they were. Finally. So, doesn't look woke or anything. So, I don't know. It's not doing well. Number 9 is The Hill. Also premiering. 2.5 million. Who the hell's in this? Is that Nicolas Cage? No, it's Dennis. Oh, it's Dennis Quaid. Okay, now I remember this movie. This is a baseball movie. This is the player's nickname is The Hill. I think his last name is Hill in the movie. And he had some kind of disability, but he overcame it to be a professional baseball player. Blah blah blah. Not my kind of movie. I don't like sports movies, but for people who are really into sports movies, it looked fine. You know, not like Field of Dreams, but, you know, mildly inspirational story about a kid who always wanted to play baseball. Baseball. I mean, baseball's okay. I played baseball as a little kid, but I never understood the magic of baseball. People talk about the magic of baseball. I mean, I went to Wrigley Field once, and that was kind of cool. It was nice to see a professional game kind of down on the field, because it's a little different when you're kind of on the field. I wasn't on the field, but I was like in those seats that are really low. It feels like you're there. But it's all right. I mean, I think this movie will be fine. For people who like baseball, I think they'll go see it. It'll be wholesome at least. It'll look very wholesome. But yeah, take your kid or something if your kid's into baseball. Number 10, Haunted Mansion. This movie friggin' tanked, I think. Yeah, 62 million domestic, 29 million worldwide, 91 million in total in its 5th week. It is done. DUA, stick a fork in it, done. Not even going to crack 100 million. And this movie had to cost more than 100 million. I forget what the numbers were on this, but I believe it was over 100 million. So that is bad. It dropped from 8 to 10. Not good. Number 11, which was at 7, Talk to Me. This is a horror movie, 2 million. This movie's actually doing good and probably didn't cost a lot of money. 41 million domestic, 11 million international, 52 million. That's probably money because I don't think this movie cost. Maybe it cost like 20 million, maybe. I think that's probably money. I don't even think it cost that much. I don't think there's hardly any effects in this. I believe it was independently produced, or at least cheaply produced. So they're already talking a sequel to that. These are the movies they should be doing. I mean, look, that's a little low for a horror internationally. Horror should do better internationally, but still, 52 million. You make this movie for 10 million. That's good money. That's good money. You can make a movie like this for $10 million. You can. Most of it's just going to be creepy shots of this weird looking hand. It's a whole people from the dead talking to people movie. And a bunch of shadows and BS like that. A bunch of actors nobody ever heard of. Decent looking. The next movie will get more money. And it'll be bigger. It'll be better, better advertised. And internationally, it should have done better. That's the only weird thing about that. But next time around, you do the sequel. You probably do even a third one, really. But you keep it low. If Disney had any brains, they'd have a separate division for horror movies and just make cheap horror movies all day long. Why wouldn't you? It's money in the bank. You make a horror movie for 10 million bucks and then you release it and you make 50. Easy. It's easy money every single time. It's almost impossible to screw it up. And back in the 80s, it was a very simple formula. Horror, you got a monster. Boobs, throw in some boobs there. Some nice boobage. Couple of scenes. Maybe a shower scene. Whatever. And maybe a couple of action scenes with the monster at the end. You've got all the elements you need to take it on the road and make your money back. It's a slam dunk. A slam dunk. How am I doing? Am I still on here? Just want to make sure my signal's good. Okay. Number 12 from 9, Mission Impossible. Didn't do as well as expected, but it's in its 7th week, so it's done. $500 million. I mean, that's weird to say. $551 million, and it's like, it did okay. I mean, but for a Tom Cruise movie that was made during the pandemic, that movie had to cost a fortune. I think it's probably just profitable. Not by much, though. Because you got to figure this movie had to have cost $200 million. The only money they're going to save is, I think they shot both movies, because part 2 is coming out. I think they shot both movies simultaneously, or near simultaneously, so they may have saved a little bit of money doing it that way. For the sequel, at least, because you know, the stars are there. They're shooting various things. Some of the sets probably got reused or whatever. Um, the interesting thing will be if this movie will do some more business when the second movie comes out, right? Because you got to figure this would be a cool double feature if you're really into Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt, and you'd see Dead Reckoning Part 1 and then go right in and see Dead Reckoning Part 2 after a brief intermission where everybody runs to the bathroom. But I think this first part was too long. Wasn't this like 2.5 hours, I think? This should have been a tight 2 at most. At most. And really, it should have been closer to 90. You're talking an action movie. What do you need 2.5 hours for, Tom Cruise? Too long. Too long. So when you show the damn thing, it's less than 4 hours. Now you're gonna show part 1 and part 2. It's gonna be like 5.5 hours long. Who are these people? 5.5 hours long. Number 13, Sound of Freedom. Still hanging in there. Made $2 million this month or week. That ain't bad for the 8th week. Still making millions. $181 million. This movie is money, baby. This is how you do it. $14 million. You make this kind of bank. This is like $100 million profit easy. More. Because the advertising, I mean, okay, maybe you double it. All right, say it cost you $28 million for the whole thing. You're still making $150 million profit. That is a fat profit for Angel Studios. Now, there's some rumors they may not totally own the rights to the sequel. That would be a disaster, but then they're going to release it internationally. It's going to take a few weeks to get to that. Wait a minute, what's today? Today's the 27th. It should have already opened in South Africa. Well, I don't think you're going to make much money in South Africa. But I guess it opened in Australia this weekend? Or the 24th. What was the 24th? That was Thursday. We don't have any numbers yet. And Mexico, it opens in a few days. That'll be interesting, Mexico. We'll see how it does. That should bring in more money. I mean, this movie is pretty good for a $14 million film. Number 14, Golda premiere. Oh, this is Helen Mirren as Golda Meir. For those of you who don't remember or don't know, Golda Meir was the leader of the Israelis back in, I guess, the 60s and 70s. I don't know. She smokes through the whole movie. So during some of the tumultuous time in Israel, I mean, it's pretty all tumultuous when I think about it. But you know, one of the big historic moments. I forget which one. It wasn't the. Is it the 5-day or 6-day war, or 3-day war, or 5-day war? I forget. I don't think it was that. I think it's the one after that. Israel was already established. But there was a big controversy with this movie because Helen Mirren can't play a Jewish person. She's an actress. Not to mention, she kind of looks like her. She's the right age. Golda Meir was older and very wrinkly. So she looks just like her in the movie. 1.7 million. Not a great premiere, but it's kind of an art house movie. It's kind of niche. And where's the international on this? You're telling me you're not going international with this? Oh, it hasn't opened yet. Where's the Israeli? You're not going to open this in Israel? What are you, nuts? It's got to be a... Oh, maybe they don't want to see it. I don't know. Maybe they're mad. South Africa, it opens. Isn't South Africa like half destroyed? Like, why are you opening movies in South Africa? They're opening it in Russia for some reason. I thought we were sanctioning Russia. How are you sending movies there? So weird, the international box office. I had a brief... We were trying to negotiate money for a movie, and one of the distributors was schooling me and my partner at the time in the movie. how like international distribution works, and it's kind of interesting because it's like you either sell out to a distributor and then they tackle it all, or you kind of sell out part way to a distributor, but then you can take the movie internationally, right? So you could sell your movie to an American distributor, and then if they don't want the international rights, you could take it wherever you want outside the United States. JC, South Africa has rolling blackouts at least 6 hours a day, I hear. Yeah, how are they going to even show a damn movie? 6 hours a day? Jesus. What the hell would I do for 6 hours without the internet? That would be a problem. Although it's probably coming to New Jersey because they're trying to build the damn wind turbines here. And I know it's going to be a disaster. Fortunately, there are some protests. I don't know if they're doing any good yet, but we'll see. See if the people protesting bother to vote anything other than Democrat here. Jurassic Park? They re-released Jurassic Park, everybody. Did 1.7 million. Okay. Not sure why they did that, but... Oh, was it just to get over $1 billion worldwide? Looks like it is. Okay. So, they re-released Jurassic Park. This, to me, though, is what Disney should have done instead of making a bunch of crap movies. Should have just re-released all the good ones. Why remake The Lion King when you already made a good version of The Lion King? Just re-release the damn cartoon and just say, oh, we've got better sound quality this time, or some, like you did the last 10 times you re-released it. You say, oh, now it's in Google Max, and it's much better. Oh, you put on your Google Max goggles, and oh, it looks better. And your Google Max earbuds, oh my God, the sound. JEC, spend your 6 hours trying to escape from roving murder gangs. Ooh, like The Purge. Carter Chain, Jurassic Park 30th? Oh, that's right. 1993, it said that. I should have figured that out. Yeah. It's the 30th anniversary. Okay, I guess. But still. Most of those Disney cartoons came out over 20 years ago or 25 years ago. That's a good anniversary. Number 11 was number 11. Now it's number 16. This is a disappointing Last Voyage of Demeter. Man, did this movie not do well. $13 million. Oofa. That was domestic. International, it only did 1.6. Oof. Clint Miller didn't care for Demeter. Good riddance. A promising concept, but clumsily executed. That's a shame. I'll tell you, the trailer looked top notch. I was psyched to see it. And then the lead actor started spouting off about race, and then I was like, nah, I'll wait. And now I don't even know if I'll watch it on Max or wherever it drops. I mean, it was a good concept. Really was. I mean, I could just hear that pitch. It's aliens, but in colonial times. You could have made that so good. JC, terrible. The Demeter. Also, I hear it's woke. Yeah, me too. Turned me right off of it. Like, oh, you're gonna wokeify this? There's no reason to be. It's infuriating when they wokeify stuff. And there are plenty of stories. I'm working on a story now, and I don't want to give it away, but the historical reference is a black character or a black guy who wasn't a slave and got a whole bunch of money, and he wasn't an idiot, and you could easily make him the hero in the movie for what I'm talking about. I can't really tell you because it's going to be in a story I'm working on, but I mean, the characters exist in history. They exist. You just have to find them. and do a little damn research. Instead, they take something like the Demeter. Like, I understand why they greenlit it. Oh, it's Dracula. We could do another Dracula movie. Okay. But the first thing you did was take the word Dracula out of the title. And expect people, normies, to think, oh, the last voyage of the Demeter? I didn't know what the Demeter was. When I watched the trailer, I was like, wait a minute. Was Demeter was the ship that moved Dracula? Oh, like I put it together, but I didn't know what the Demeter was from hearing the last voyage of the Demeter. Nobody knows what the ship's name was that brought Dracula to London, you morons. Unless you read the book recently, you might remember it. You needed a better title. It should have said, like, Dracula, the last voyage of the Demeter. Then people would have went, oh, it's a Dracula movie. Something to let people know what the F it was. Instead, you expect people to just put it all together. Hollywood simultaneously thinks its audience is stupid and smart. It's like, first off, nobody in Hollywood even reads. They'd be the last people to know what the Demeter was. The absolute last. Nobody outside of the people working on this movie, I bet, could name you what the hell the Demeter was. JEC, I read Dracula. I didn't remember what the ship was called. Yeah, I read it too. I was like, Demeter. I know that's something. I couldn't figure out what it was, and then I watched the trailer. I was like, oh yeah. You gotta name things something that people could get. This is how out of touch they are. It's like you've got the two extremes in Hollywood. You've got the executives. These people, they're so stupid. They're so stupid. Somebody was telling me at the show today, he heard an interview when they were pitching a story for the Enterprise, the Scott Bakula horrible Enterprise show, which now compared to what the current Star Trek is actually looks good by comparison, but I thought it was terrible. Anyhow, there were these two producers on a podcast somewhere saying, like, yeah, we were pitching a story idea, and they said the crew has to go outside the ship, outside on its hull, to put out a fire in space. And the producer's reaction was, wow, that sounds great. They're outside the ship putting out a fire. Oh, quick, one question. What's a hull? They didn't know what a hull was. They didn't know the word hull. Like, how do you get to be a grown-up and not know what the hull of a ship is? How do you get to work on Star Trek and not know that word? It's infuriating. And everybody in the movie industry should be forced to read. But these executives, they don't know things. They know nothing. Clint Miller, the first black med school graduate in England, couldn't get a job in a racist England or racist Romania. Only survivor of the shipwreck, Romanian girl boss. Oh, is that the character in the movie? Romanian girl boss. Oh my God. JC, there's no air in space. How is there a fire in space? Oh, it was a plasma fire. I forgot to say the plasma part. So they did have that covered. These were the writers pitching it, so they at least knew that much. But my point is, these people don't know anything. And they greenlit this project probably because they said, well, why are you calling it The Last Voyage of the Demeter? And then the writers and the director, who are well-read enough to know what it is, but are too self-centered to think about their audience, said, oh, it's Dracula's ship. Oh, I know Dracula. Yes, here's a pile of money. And, but those same directors and writers should have known to not call it The Last Voyage of the Demeter without the word Dracula somewhere in it. Clint Miller, JEC, excellent point. Always with the excellent points, JEC. But yes, they should have called it Dracula, Last Voyage of the Demeter, or The Last Voyage of Dracula, or something like that. If Dracula's not in it, if Dracula isn't in the title, or vampire, why even make the damn movie? It's just pointless. Especially when it would have been different if The Last Voyage of the Demeter came out as part of, I don't know, a monster franchise that they were restarting, and you set that up somewhere in another movie, but then maybe you could go with that, but no. Number 17 is a movie called Bottoms, which I think I did see the trailer for. Yes, this is a high school movie about two lesbians, and I forget what happens, but it didn't look great, and it only made $500,000. What the hell was this movie? The plot was something like, you know what? I gotta look it up on IMDb, because it had Bottoms. Here it is. Two unpopular queer high school students start a fight club to have sex before graduation. Yeah, they start a fight club. I remember that part. I don't remember the sex part, but one of them is into a girl who's not gay. I think it's a woke version, a woke female version of what would normally pass for a like wacky high school hijinks movie. But yeah, it's super woke. Super woke. Now I'm kind of remembering it. Brutally bad. After that, and I'm glad it only made $500,000, which is not money. That can't be money, even for a movie with virtually no names in it. I don't think it had any names in it, but $500,000, no, that doesn't even cover the catering for the last day, I would say. The Little Mermaid still in theaters? Did they put it back in theaters? Oh no, this is the new one. They put it back in theaters? Still at 561 million? They put it in 1,600 theaters again. Weird. Clint Miller, a must-see, LOL. Yeah. Yeah, I bet there's not one naked scene in it. The Little Mermaid. Why did they put this back into theaters? Weird. They just can't help themselves, I guess. Elemental is still in theaters. That's done. Super Mario Brothers is still in theaters. They put that back in theaters too, according to this. What the hell? Why did they do that? Are they out of movies? Maybe they are. Maybe they're out of movies. JEC, how does a fight club get you laid, especially an all-female fight club, unless they knock the other girls out and assault them? I don't know. It was a really weird pitch because if I'm remembering the trailer, the girls start the fight club in order to get out of trouble because they get in trouble for something else. They claim they were starting the fight club in order to explain their behavior for doing something. I forget what. So then they have to get like the sleaziest teacher in the school to sponsor them. And he does. And then they beat the hell out of each other. But like, who the hell would approve that in a school? Girls barefisting each other, smashing each other in the face? It really doesn't make any sense. Clint Miller, nude mixed wrestling? No, nothing cool happened in that movie. It looked like an angry lesbian wrote it, trying to be funny. Every movie now comes off as like an angry man-hating woman writing the movie to show us ha 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 I'm taking this version of a movie you like, and I'm doing it my way, and nobody likes it. And then they spend the next 2 weeks screaming that everybody's misogynist or whatever. JC, starting fights to get out of trouble at school, huh? Yeah, it was a weird pitch. Watch the trailer if it's very strange. And I'm still uncomfortable with them using the word queer constantly in descriptions of gay characters. It's like, this was a word that back in the day, gay people didn't want you to use it because it was considered not a nice turn of phrase, and now they can't stop using the word. All of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's a queer character, we're all queer. It's like, you didn't want us to use that word, now you love it. It just doesn't make any sense. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, of course, still limping around in theaters for some reason. Old Boy, that's another one they put back in the theaters for some reason. $182,000. Why even bother? I mean, that doesn't even seem like it's a rental. JEC, especially calling underage people queer. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, typically when they shoot these high school movies, nobody in the movie is actually high school age. They're just playing high school age. They get young actors who look high school, because if they actually hired high schoolers, the rules are different for hiring anybody under the age of 18 on a set. They can't work more than, I think, 4 hours, something like that. They're very stringent rules. So they just cast people who are 18 or over who look like they're in high school. JC, Old Boy came out in 2023, 20th anniversary. You guys are quick on the math. Theater Camp, this movie pretty much died. 3.6 million. Did not look good. Asteroid City also died, but they put it back in theaters? Weird. $76,000. Made $49 million worldwide. Definitely not money. That movie looks expensive as F. But it might be cheap. I know Wes Anderson's very clever. Maybe it was actually very cheap, but it looks expensive. A movie that they never should have released ever, and the person who greenlit this ought to be fired immediately. Cat Video Fest 2023. I don't know what this cost, but I bet it cost more than $366,000. So, you're nuts for greenlighting this thing. Oscilloscope. It's only in 22 theaters anyway. JC, they have no new movies. They need something to fill the screens, I guess. But I keep seeing new movies. Like, new movies are coming out every day. I'm still doing my trailer reactions for 4 different movies because so many trailers are coming out. They have movies that they finished that are up on the shelves just sitting there that they could release. Wouldn't that be better than putting a name movie back in the theaters? You know, just release it like you're still making it. And they're halfway to settling the strikes anyway. Doesn't make any sense. Next comes Jules. This movie, this looked cute, I'll say. Jane Curtin's in it, who I like. Ben Kingsley. It's a cute movie about an alien visiting Earth, and he becomes friends with a bunch of old people, basically. But it only did 1.7 million, so it's not looking very good, and it's not getting wide distribution. It's looking like a video rental. But it looks pretty. I mean, for Bleecker Streak produced this thing. Bleecker Streak normally doesn't have any names in their movies, and now suddenly they got 2 big names in it. I mean, yeah, they're old, but they're pretty big names. Ben Kingsley and Jane Curtin. Seems like it should do better than 1.7 million, but... And then a bunch of stuff dropped. Fremont. Oh, this is a music box film, so this is a concert? No. Something called Fremont. Sounds familiar. Scrapper. I did see the trailer for this. This looked okay. It's about a dad who has to reconnect with his daughter because, like, the premise is the mother dies and the daughter continues to live on her own and go to school because they don't know she's living by herself. And then the father comes back into the picture, and he has to win her over. And it's kind of a wholesome movie. Clint Miller, I enjoy your trailer reviews. Thank you. Thank you, Clint. That's nice of you to say. I try. Number next to the last is the Elephant Six Recording Company. I have no idea what this movie is. I don't know. $14,000. And Piaf. I think I've heard of this one. Oh, yeah. Did I review this one? I know I watched the trailer. It's weird. It's about a woman who... It's like one of these French movies that just goes off the rails. I think I did review this. I think as part of like 4 trailers. She's like... It's a French movie. It's a weird French movie with sexual stuff in it, and she also has a horse's tail. That's about all you need to know. If you want to see a movie that like pretentious a-holes think is amazing, this would be the movie. Yeah, I wouldn't see this. I wouldn't see this on a bet. This would be like an R-rated like Mystery Theater 3000 kind of movie. You know, so a bunch of guys just making fun of it. It would be fun. That would be a fun thing, like an R-rated version of Mystery Science Theater 3000, done with like movies like this, really pretentious, dumb movies, but ones with like sex stuff in it, like that. Who was it? Cronenberg's son made a movie, looked like that. Looks awful. Just looks super pretentious. I forget what it was called. But somebody got mad at me for making fun of it. I usually only get 2 kinds of comments in my trailer reviews. I get, you don't know what you're talking about, a-hole, from anonymous people, or people that just, I don't know, they're weird. Or I get, if I like a movie, especially if it's a small movie, a lot of times the director or one of the actors will say, oh, thank you for watching our movie. JC, half of YouTube is basically an adult version of MST3K. Kinda, yeah. Except you're not allowed to show the movie, really. But, I don't know. The MST3K guys came up with a way around it where you're like, I guess you play the audio and then watch the movie at the same time, kind of thing. All right, so that's the numbers this week. 92 million for the week. Last week, though, was 96 million. Oh, I thought it was more than that. When did it drop below 100? Okay, there it is. 2 weeks ago, it was 115. So there you have it. The end of August. Next week is Labor Day weekend. That's going to be very interesting. I think everybody around here goes to the beach. They're not going to go to the movies, that's for sure. So I'll be at various events selling my books. All right, let's see what's happening in the trades. Gran Turismo narrowly outpaces Barbie, very narrowly. Adam Driver, again, people talk about him. Hollywood Critics Association reveals new name restructuring following controversies. Ooh, can't wait. I mean, I know we all love the Hollywood Critics Association. I mean, who can wait for their criticism? Like, does anybody other than movie people care about the Hollywood Critics Association? I don't think so. But it is Variety, so if there's going to be an article about it, I guess it has to be here. This Barbie is making Warner Brothers history. Hot pink comedy will soon become the highest grossing global release in the history of Warner Brothers. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think it's probably a bad idea because they're going to make a lot of sequels to this thing. And I don't know, man. I mean, I get why the first one made money. And maybe the second one you could do half. Just simply because people are sheep and they'll just go, oh, I saw the first Barbie movie. Oh, we have to see the second one. But the moment it doesn't live up to everybody's expectations, it'll go. Pfft. But they'll probably make half the money back because the first one was popular. And everybody could wear pink again and go get margaritas with the girls. So I could see them making a sequel. Somebody suggested today at the convention that somebody make a Ken sequel, which I think they would do. I think they should do it. They should make a Barbie sequel and a Ken movie. Put Ryan Gosling in it and a bunch of the hot guys and go to town. I'm sure they'll gay it up. What else? Frankie Valli on the set of the Four Seasons Legacy, their massive new 45 disc box set. We didn't want to try to sound like anybody else. You guys probably don't know who Frankie Valli is, but he was a famous singer. He's very old now, and he recently just got married again, I think for the 4th time. Good for him. Still making money off his music. You got to hand it to him. I mean, it's been like 40, 50 years at least. Oh, this was sad. Very sad. Arlene Sorkin, the original Harley Quinn voice actor, died at 67 this week, if you didn't know. Very sad. Clint Miller, my electric bill shot up now that Tommy Watts is out of business. Look, I told you, Clint. Tommy Watts was a scam from the beginning, okay? They give you cheap electricity first, and then they jack up the price. That's how it works. That's how they get you. It was going to go up anyway. Clint Miller, see Star Wars. I have seen Star Wars. I like the first movie, and the second movie, and the third movie. And that's it. Everything after that, just throw it in the garbage. Throw it right in the damn garbage. Because after that, Lucas effed it up. Checking over at Bounding in the Comics. Nothing much happened this week. I mean, Carlos Santana stepped in it. First he came out during a concert and said, men are men and women are women, right? And you thought, oh, Carlos, based. Then he apologized in a Facebook thread, which was dumb, but then he compounded his dumbness by deleting the apology. So people saw it, and then he deleted it. Then he apologized live on stage, which I would consider a act of submission, and it's basically a struggle session, as James Lindsay would say it. Not me, YouTube. I'm just saying what other people say. You gotta watch out, YouTube, on these points. I could go right off the air. Some stuff happened with anime that I don't really understand or care about. Former CIA agent Tom King, and I did not know he was in the CIA until I read this article. Clint Miller, a franchise being played out. Yeah. Gary over at Nerdrotic had a video about Ahsoka, which is pretty good. But Ahsoka is so awful, I couldn't even finish Gary's video the first time through because he was showing clips from the show and it is so boring. It makes his video boring. That's how boring Ahsoka looks to me. and I had to stop it in the middle, do something else, and then I came back and finished it. But and no offense to Gary, I love his videos, but man, Ahsoka looks boring as F. Man, they've ruined the franchise. JC, I remember telling you Tom King was a spook. Oh, I must have forgotten. That's weird. It's very weird to me that he was a spook. Hey, that's a word for CIA guy, YouTube. Don't get crazy. Like, did the CIA decide let's put one of our guys in comics? That'll calm down those comic guys. We got to make sure those comic guys are under our control. Clint Miller, rank cowardice? Perhaps. But he's doing a Wonder Woman story, which is going to be a metaphor about how terrible Trump is. If you can believe it. After the rousing success of Wonder Woman 1984, Tom King thought, ooh, let me recreate that in the comics. I guess since no one's reading them anyway? Is that why? So the twos of people who see Wonder Woman still complaining about Trump can go, oh, I don't like Trump either. This comic speaks to me. Arden. Hey, Arden's here. Hey, all. Can't stay. Family gathering. But I left a like on the way in. Well, that's nice. Thanks for stopping by. You missed Ryan Citro, who had to go to dinner. So, yeah. Tom King is going to make fun of Trump, everybody. So stunning. So brave. This would be the comic if DC said to me, finally gave me a comic to write. This was, for a long time, the comic I would choose to write, because the strategy is, I was thinking, was this. If you start out writing big-time comics, you don't want to start on the top at first. You want to start with a comic that they'll never cancel, but is in the toilet. Because that way, you can make your mark by driving the sales up. If DC Comics still cares about sales, but they apparently don't. Ardent, hey Clint. Ardent, hi, says Clint. JC, Tom King is the same thing over and over. Good opening, few issues, ending is always terrible, always moaning about his PTSD and terrible marriage. Weird. Ardent, and gone again. Clint, that Trump mugshot says it all, doesn't it? Doesn't it? I wonder how long it's going to take the comic guys to come up with some way to take the Trump mugshot and jam it on the cover of one of the comics and somehow try to make Trump look bad, but they'll end up making him look good. By the way, speaking of the Trump mugshot, since you brought it up, he made, I think, $4.8 million off the mugshot in 24 hours. And to date, he's made $7.1 million. So, nice going, dummies. What's up, Joan? Oh, okay. So, yeah, they were very stupid to give him that mugshot. JEC, I have no idea what I would do with Wonder Woman. Need to be into mythology. JEC, 7 million. Yep, 7 million. I would do like an X-Files type story with magical artifacts. It would all be about Wonder Woman tracking down magical artifacts and monsters and either killing the monsters or sending them back to wherever they belong. I would make her the supernatural sort of guardian force of the DC universe. And that would be her gig. And she would have to tackle the monsters, like Hercules, because she's supposedly, in one version of her origin, she's the daughter of Hercules, and that's why she has all the powers. So, yeah, have her do, like, classic monster hunting and fighting and stuff like that. That's a no-brainer. But that'll never happen, because they're effing up. Talk about something they're effing up. And you want to talk about James Gunn, and somebody really coined it today at the convention. Carter Chain, X-Files mentioned. um, JC, all the lefties on my timeline admitted they were disappointed with the mugshot. Whole thing backfired bigly. Yeah, I mean it's made Trump somehow even more famous and more cool than ever. You know, it's given him street cred. No other president in the world has ever had as much street cred as Donald Trump now. People in Atlanta, as his motorcade was pulling up to the courthouse, were cheering him on. Through black neighborhoods, they came out to cheer Trump on. Because, and this is Razorfist said this, and I believe that it's true, it's not that you need to be tuned into politics to understand what's going on. You just have to look at who hates Donald Trump. And once you can define a man by his enemies. And once you see the enemies lined up against Trump, you go, there has to be something good about this guy. That's it. His enemies have made him. But I also think they're doing this on purpose because they want Trump in, because they think he's going to be easy to beat in 2024, or that they're going to cheat again. They will cheat again, and that, you know, in an election sometime, which I don't know. Will YouTube shut me down because I just said that? I don't know. JC, that would be beautiful if the mugshot cost them the black vote. It seems to be working, eating away at the black vote at a phenomenal rate at the moment. Because, you know, and it's true. I mean, statistically speaking, there's a lot of black people in the United States that have to deal with law enforcement and go to jail, and so there's this sympathy there for anybody who has to go through this booking procedure and maybe might go to jail and gets dragged through the court system. So, you know, it's the authorities making Trump the victim. I guess they think it'll eventually wear him down, but have you met Donald Trump? Have you met him? Oh, Rebel Moon dropped this week. Anybody see the Rebel Moon trailer? I looked at that trailer. It looked okay, but I'm worried that there's no story to it. JC, I think they expected him to drop out when they charged him because that's what you would expect. He said as much in that interview with Tucker. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, but like any other guy, sure. Like, I don't know, if they arrested Chuck Schumer because they didn't want him to be president, I think he'd have a deal before they even, you know, he wouldn't even have to go to the courthouse. He'd just be like, look, I'll drop out, leave me alone. But, you know, Donald Trump, nah, he ain't gonna do that. But this Rebel Moon thing, I hope is good, but I don't know, man. I don't have any confidence that Zack Snyder knows what a good story is. I just don't. Now, visually, it's stunning. It really is. Not as stunning as, say, Wes Anderson stuff, but, I mean, it looks cool. But it also looks like 19 million different things I've seen before. I mean, it looks like Warhammer. It looks like Star Wars. It looks like Lord of the Rings. It looks like every space movie I've ever seen. I mean, there's a story about a princess and she's fighting the resistance, but so what? JC, Trump spent decades being involved in dozens of lawsuits at any given time. He's used to this kind of BS. Yeah. It's amazing, though, because a lot of times I think guys in Trump's position, they get a team of lawyers and they kind of stick with them, and they stick with them for many years. And when you take out their lawyers, or their lawyers retire or whatever, they're kind of vulnerable. And it seems to me that Trump has burned through lawyers left and right. Like, he gets new lawyers all the time. He just keeps getting new ones. And so they're indicting his lawyers too. But, Trump's used to that too. It's like their constant pursuit of Trump has caused him to evolve beyond, I don't know, normal human endurance to some degree. I don't know if I could take the pressure he's under. Man, that's a lot of pressure. And you got to think he's doing a million other things on the sly too, including probably, if not running his old businesses, certainly advising his children on where the moves are, what they should be doing. But then again, I think his kids are pretty capable. I mean, I know Don Jr. had his issues, but, Eric and the other one seemed fine. Ivanka seems to be on the ball. I mean, Don Jr. seems on the ball now. He just doesn't seem like a business guy. JEC, a judge threw out the document charges in Florida the same day they took the mugshot. All these cases are going to fall apart too. Oh, yeah. No, I don't think they have a chance to convict him on anything, really. But they might convict. I mean, they just locked up in Fulton County the one defendant in the Trump team, because there's a bunch of other defendants too. The one defendant that's black, they won't let him out of prison. He's going to jail. They won't give him a public defender, and they're putting him in prison. I think they're trying to sweat him. I think they're trying to get him to flip. So I hope Trump raises some money for him or helps him. I know he's raising money for Rudy Giuliani. And, Giuliani's another one. It's like, this was America's mayor. And I was no fan of Rudy Giuliani back in the day. After 9/11, I was not a fan of Rudy Giuliani. A lot of stuff came out about him. The mistakes he made during that time is not good. I won't get into it. It's pretty deep cut, but, and now here he is. I mean, he's not even Trump's lawyer, really. I guess he was for part of the time or whatever, but JC, Trump learned everything he knows from Roy Combs. He was Joe McCarthy's right-hand man. Combs died of AIDS in the 80s. He's used to losing lawyers right and left. He really is, it seems. You know who one of his guys were too, who gave him advice, was Richard Nixon. He had a sit down with Nixon many years ago, and Nixon gave him advice. But yeah, Roy Combs. But anyway, this Rebel Moon thing, I don't know, man. I hope it's good, but I really have no confidence in Zack Snyder. Just none, story-wise. I wish he to me strikes me as the kind of guy, if I ran a studio, I'd say, Zack, direct the damn screenplay. Follow the screenplay and don't deviate from it. That's it. That's my advice. If you want to deviate from it, you could shoot a couple of extra scenes. Maybe you could show them to me. Otherwise, just shoot the damn screenplay. This was another thing that dropped this week. Robin Hood, with a Y. It's a woke, race-swapped Robin Hood. JC, Rebel Moon looks generic. Yeah, it's almost like it's too many things. It's just everything. It's a princess, there's space battles, there's ships, there's a moon, there's, crazy smoke-filled chambers, and it looks good, though. I mean, I think it looks good. Don't pop-up ads. Stupid pop-ups. Are you kidding me? Hold on, I gotta reload. You suck. I'm gonna exit the page and then reload. There we go. Yeah, so Robin Hood does not look good. And the sad thing is, I pitched this, kind of, but I pitched it for DC Comics. That was my Green Arrow pitch. My Green Arrow pitch was Green Arrow is supposed to be a modern day Robin Hood. Let's give him his merry men. And then I was going to introduce a whole slew of new characters that were going to be the merry men for Green Arrow. And so it was going to be this whole storyline where he picks up all these dudes and he trains them all in archery, and some of them already know archery, and then he has like a whole force of dudes. It would have been cool. This looks pretty awful. Not sure what the hell these masks are. Or, I mean, none of it looks cool at all. But I don't know what global TV is. Is this like TV by the WEF, maybe? All right, Joan, you want to get down? All right, you can get down. Here, I got you. Say bye to Joan, everybody. Oh, too hot. Too hot, Joan. Sitting a dog in your lap, it's very hot. So, yeah. So global TV, meh. Check in Hollywood Reporter. Priscilla Presley entrusts Sofia Coppola to tell her story. I felt she could get me. Sofia Coppola, in my view, hasn't made a good film. But, okay. This story, I still am amazed this hasn't become national news. Because what happened was there was a 62-year-old store owner who hung a pride flag in her store, and some wackadoo came in and confronted her and then ended up killing her. I think he shot her. And he's a right-wing lunatic. He's an actual right-wing lunatic from the account, assuming they haven't completely lied about it. And I'd have to assume that. I mean, it's mainstream media, but it looks like a true story, I'll say. A horrible but true story. And I can't believe this hasn't become national news. But it hasn't. It's sort of just sitting in the background in the trades because it happened in California and some celebrities knew this woman and her store. But I'm kind of waiting for it to maybe bubble up to the surface, like maybe in a couple of weeks. But so far, nothing. It's weird. It's weird. It's almost like the elites have something planned that's bigger, and they said, oh, no, not that one. We got a better story. Bob Barker is dead, if you didn't know that. He was the original host of The Price is Right. Some of you may remember. He was on TV every day for many, many years. Whenever I was at home sick from school, I'd be watching The Price is Right with Bob Barker. And favorite game on The Price is Right, everybody? The Yodeler. And the Yodeler was this guy who would go up the hill. You had to guess the prices of things. And if you got close, like by a few cents, let's say, the Yodeler would only move up a little ways. But if you missed it by like a couple of dollars, he would start to go up the hill, and they played this music. Yodelay, 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 hoo. And the object of the game was not to guess so far away that the Yodeler went off the cliff at the top of the hill. And then he went, yodelay, yo. That was my favorite game. Clint Miller, right-wing lunatics exist? Yeah, he was an actual right-wing lunatic, apparently. Don't quote me on it, because who the hell knows? Maybe they lied about that too. Maybe they're lying about the details of the case, but it sounds that way. It sounds like he got mad about a pride flag in the store and then came back and killed her. But who knows? But yeah, any Price is Rights fans there? My brother loved this show. It was his dream to be on the show. And then when I was out in LA, I tried out for all the game shows, and I realized how they pick people. And it turns out they only pick people: Clint Miller, Bob Barker, and Truth or Consequences. Oh man, I vaguely remember that game. They pick people based on your enthusiasm, not how good you are at the games. That's the only way they pick you. So if you ever go out to LA and try out for the game shows, you have to act like it's the most amazing day of your life, and they'll put you on the show. You act like a maniac, like, oh, this is the greatest day of my life, woohoo, yahoo. You stand a good chance of getting into that show. I'm telling you. So a little tip. Next time I go back to LA, if I try out for game shows, I'm totally doing that, and I'll get on. I know I'll get on. I don't know what my angle will be. Maybe I'll have to be old guy with no money, because I am an old guy with no money. Dennis Villeneuve says it would be a dream to make a third Dune movie. They have to make a third one. Come on. They're definitely going to make a third one. Why wouldn't they make a third one? You're telling me they're not making a Dune 3? Of course they're going to make a third one. The first one did okay. The second one will probably do pretty good. Third one will be the clincher, so you have the 3 DVD set or whatever. I think they'll definitely do it. This was hilarious to me. Star Trek Prodigy banner flown over Netflix offices in effort to save show. A GoFundMe campaign resulted in a plane flying over the offices of several streamers as fans try to get the streamer to pick up Star Trek series canceled by Paramount Plus. Save Star Trek Prodigy. Does anybody watch this show? Oh, excuse me. I mean, Star Trek is done. Come on. Trekkies were embarrassing even back in my day before they made the second Star Trek series. But this is just... I'm glad I was able to make fun of them in Hollywoke, another novel. JC, that CGI looks awful. I think it's an animated show, right? I think it's animation. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Is it supposed to be Captain Janeway before she became the captain or something? Because it looks like her. Clint Miller, Jersey Devil may care. Yes, I am. I mean, I love old Star Trek. I think it's great. I love the movies, old Star Trek movies, but everything else, Next Generation had its moments. I do like Deep Space Nine, but JC, CGI animation. Yeah, it's not great. Looks boring just from this still, quite frankly. I mean, why wouldn't you have... If you're going to pick one still to represent your space show, wouldn't you pick a still where you're, I don't know, shooting an alien or something? Like, why are you going to pick an exciting still? Like, oh, here's a character smiling. Not too much, though. It's like all the pictures. That's the best picture you can find of the show. So yeah, they're trying to save that show. I don't know why. Because Star Trek fans have nothing to do still. Well, they're not having sex with each other. At least I guess they're doing something. I have to mention this article again. JC, I hear stories that every time police bust a pedo, they all have Star Trek stuff in their house. Oof. I can kind of believe it now, because the new Star Trek is infinitely woke, it seems. And not good. Not good. Probably have Funkos and Star Trek or Star Wars stuff too. Look at this article. Where have all the DC fans gone? After a string of bombs with a reboot on the horizon, Warner Brothers has to do more than make fans believe a man can fly. It has to make them believe that this time there's a willingness to see that flight to its destination. I don't know. I trust Matt Reeves more than I trust James Gunn. I think James Gunn is talented. Oh, I started telling you what someone said at the show, which I thought was really a good assessment of James Gunn. He said, James Gunn is an example of the Peter Principle. And the Peter Principle is a guy who gets promoted above his station to the point at which he becomes incompetent. So, James Gunn is a competent filmmaker, a creative guy, a good screenwriter, but, according to this guy, not a good executive. And I think that's a probable good assessment of him. He's probably not a good executive because as an executive he's kind of been terrible, but as a filmmaker I have all the confidence in the world he can make a decent Superman film. But I don't think he's managing things correctly. He keeps saying stuff online, and he praised the Flash, which I get that he probably had to do with that, but he should have done it in a way that gave him an out. Like, he should have said something like, oh, I think the Flash will probably be a fan favorite. Like something like that to give him an out. So when the people come back on him and say, oh man, I went to see the Flash because you said it was great, and he could go, well, I didn't say it was great. I said I thought it would be a fan favorite. Like something like that. And like a nice way to say, I hope the movie does well. JC, I think the superhero trend is over. Endgame was the end. The lockdowns changed everyone's attitude towards the world. Superheroes don't have the same appeal. Yeah. I think, though, had some celebrities, like, resisted the pandemic, I think they would be looking pretty good right now. Some of them did, but, like if a large portion of them had protested or had done something to help people rather than just themselves, I think they'd be in a much better position now. But instead, a lot of them just went along with it and chastised people for not wearing a mask. I think if they had done something similar with, like, superheroes, but you'll never see it, like if you did a storyline, you could do this in DC Comics. This would be an edgy storyline. You do a storyline where a pandemic hits, but, it's all BS to sell a bunch of product, let's say. I think that would be a good storyline. And I think people would love it. But, yeah, you're not going to see it today. You'd see it in an indie comic, maybe, but not in a superhero comic in the mainstream, I don't think. JC, the ones that did, they S-canned and deplatformed. Yep, but they, in the end, I think they look better, and they're the ones that will reap the benefits. Down the road. I think it's starting to happen now. I think a lot of the hardcore people who are anti-Trump are really going to be in trouble in the next 5 to 10 years. Because I think the same studios that, cheered them on will say, you know what, Trump's really popular now, and yeah, we can't, you're really associated with the anti-Trump, and that's not really hot anymore, so I'm going to ask you to leave the office, and we'll think about it, but I think a lot of them will eventually just go where the money is. Because they'll have no choice. Either they're finally going to decide, listen, we got to make money with real movies, with people that are likable, or we have to just resolve ourselves to be completely beholden to BlackRock or these major corporations and make crap films. Because that's obvious what is happening at a lot of these companies. I mean, look at Disney. Disney just makes, in my view, total crap. just total crap. Like almost nothing coming out of Disney looks good, and it looks worse than bad. It's like there's bad movie like, well, we tried to make a movie but it's bad. Then there's like purposely bad. Like Snow White looks so purposely bad it's transparent to me. JEC. My idea for them to introduce the X-Men was that Thanos snap caused certain people's DNA to mutate, and people panic, as they do with COVID, as a virus parable. Yes, that's a good pitch. That could work. They'll never do it, but that could work. Yeah, they'll never do it. It would be great. I don't know. By the time they get to do the X-Men, the Root Matt is here. Haven't seen you in a while, the Root Matt. Hello. Welcome. But I just thought this was a funny article because it's like Hollywood Reporter asking, what happened to the DC fans? Well, let's see. You spent years calling us all racist and making terrible movies. I wonder what happened to them. Oh, something must have upset them. What could it possibly be? It'll be a mystery. Oh, this is Harley Quinn dying. That was a shame. Taylor Kitsch escapes L.A. to build sober recovery commune for the vets in Montana. Well, that's nice. Who is Taylor Kitsch? Star of Friday Night Lights and Waco. He was Gambit in the X-Men Origins Wolverine. He relocated from Los Angeles to Montana in search of tranquility. Look at him. The Root Matt. LOL. That's nice. A lot of people are ditching LA for good reason, I think. Finally, over at Deadline. Nothing really going on here. Disney Plus not going forward with Nautilus UK series as part of cost-cutting content removal. Okay, wonder how much money they wasted on this show before canceling it. Oh, this was a big story this week. The Sopranos star Drea Di Matteo has an OnlyFans site now. Christopher's girlfriend from The Sopranos, if you remember her. She was pretty hot. There's only one picture of her. Way to go, Deadline. Yeah, I think it's a bad idea to do OnlyFans, but she looks pretty hot in it. She's in her 50s, too. Donna D'Errico looks amazing on it, but I think you got to be an idiot to pay for porn. JEC. There was a wrestler, Bray Wyatt, who died of a heart attack this week at 36. They're trying to blame a certain medical condition, but everyone is calling out a certain medical procedure. Yes, I would agree with that assessment in certain circumstances, I'll say. YouTube. JC, didn't she peg Christopher in the show at one point? She did? I don't remember that. Or are you making a joke? Clint Miller. Hi, Matt. I don't know. I stopped watching it after... I watched this season after the actress who played Tony Soprano's mother died. And that was very disappointing. And that is when the show started to go downhill. The very next season was my last season because it was so boring and nothing happened. And the show, the whole tenor of the show had changed, and I felt it became too self-important, and I couldn't watch it anymore. So I didn't even watch the last season. Spoilers, like everybody dies for some reason. It was a weird way to end the series, I think. And it's a shame. Because ironically, I think they killed off all the characters, and then, except James Gandolfini, who then actually was the first one to die in real life, which is a shame. But apparently he didn't take care of himself, so. God, his last movie is so good, though. You gotta see The Drop. It's such a good movie. and Tom Hardy's in it. It's him and Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy is the standout, but man, they're both really good in it. JEC, they cut to black before anything happened in the end. Yeah, but yeah, so it's like, oh, you don't know what happened, but they could have brought him back, but they killed all the other guys though. But Paulie Walnuts is dead, and he was good in it. And who else is dead? I think Bobby Bacala died. I think he's dead too. A lot of heavyset guys in that show. But, you know, this first couple of seasons, top notch. Top notch. Ethan Van Sciver talks about the show all the time. He loves it. God, he loves it. But she looks good. I mean, she looks at least as good as Donna D'Erica, I would say. Very skinny. Kept in good shape. But you got to be out of your mind to pay for this stuff. Why would you pay for this? People are so stupid. They're so stupid. So dumb. To pay for porn. I mean, half the internet is free porn. You have to, like, try not to look at free porn on the internet. And yet some people actually go, you know what? I need to pay for this. Like, what? What? So stupid. Yeah, I need to pay for something that's free. It's like you said, you know what? There's not enough pop-up ads on Facebook. I need to start paying for them so I can see more. JC, a lot of fat Italians with heavy sodium diets. But the food's good. You have to admit the food's good. Let's see. Oh, here it is again. Bottoms is tops for MGM as raunchy teen comedy sees 500K opening and limited release, especially box office. I don't know. That doesn't sound like a very good release, but I guess they're trying to push this movie because it has the message. As the critical drinker would say. He coined that phrase, I believe. The message. And then everybody, like, kept repeating it. It was kind of interesting. Undercover police sting. Thieves at East LA Nike store arrest 10 in ongoing retail crime war. Wow, they actually arrested somebody in LA, everybody. Kudos. Cope 500K is S. Yeah. Yeah. Now it is limited release, but still, 500,000. You're gonna actually say that in a headline? Seriously? If it's so good, then give it a wide release. They're trying to massage this into, oh, you gotta see this movie. This is a hit movie. See the hit movie Bottoms. That's what they're trying to do, I think. But good on the LA cops, I guess, for finally arresting somebody. So, they arrested 10 people out of, like, the thousands that are robbing people in LA, I guess. So one store, the East LA Nike store, will actually not be robbed for a few days. Wow. Might have to actually go in there and buy sneakers. You know, assuming, you know, you can buy a new pair of sneakers and not step in human feces as you're walking around LA. Good luck. Oh, and this was a headline I wanted to talk about. Ms. Marvel, huge failure on ABC, worse than the Inhumans. So, oh wait, here's Drea Di Matteo. It's another picture of her. Is there more? This picture. That's a terrible picture of her. That's a slightly better one. It's the same one. Is there somebody else lying there? Yeah, there's somebody else there. I guess she's got another girl there or a guy. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's it. Guys don't know how to put up some pictures of her if you're going to put pictures of her. Anyhow, so Ms. Marvel, they aired it on ABC, and it got a worse rating than the Inhumans. Like, they really don't like this show. Nobody wants this show. Clint Miller, This is a character, it's failed at just about everything, right? It's failed at The comic, it had its own D plus show. That's basically a failure. Did it have an action figure yet? Probably. It's now failed on ABC, regular television. People could see it for free, and people didn't want to see it. Now they're going to launch the Marvels, and it's probably going to fail again. I would bet money. I wish you could bet on these movies. Oh, imagine you could bet these movies. I would bet huge against this movie. I would bet huge against it. But, you know, the bookies, they game it all, man. They know everything. Yeah, look at this damn movie. The Marvels, new Brie Larson image teases musical Planet. Like, that's going to help it. That's going to be brutally bad. And then this, look at this. Disney Plus passes on the Spiderwick Chronicles. They shot the entire show, and apparently it's so awful that not even Disney Plus will stream it. How bad is this show that Disney Plus won't show it? This is the same channel that showed Willow. What else? Ms. Marvel. And many others. JC, I think they made a video game with her. Oh, yes, that's right. As the main character, and it failed so bad the studio went bankrupt. I don't think she was the main character. I think she was one of the main characters, but yes. Wasn't that the Marvels game? Like, there were a lot of characters in it, but she was supposed to be one of the big ones. I don't know if she was the main character, though, but she was she was supposed to be an impressive addition to the characters, and nobody cared, seemingly. JC, that pig creator looks creepy as hell. What is that? It's Spiderwick, whatever the hell that is. I don't even know what that is. JC, she was the POV character for the audience. Oh, okay. I vaguely remember that. I think that's about it. And Disney Plus canceled Doogie Kamehameha MD, the Doogie Howser woke reboot. This was on the Disney Plus channel, and they passed on Spiderwick Chronicles. This was good enough for Disney Plus. This was good enough for Disney Plus. A woke reboot of Doogie Howser MD, starring a completely different character. That was good enough. But the Spiderwick Chronicles, not good enough. It's like, what? That show must be like, it must be like pouring acid in your eyes to watch it. All right. I think that's, what time is it? Yep. It's about that time. About that time to wrap things up. Because I can't talk about any more horrible Disney shows anymore. Is there anything good coming out? Is there anything good coming out? I don't know. Let's see. Coming soon. Movies 2023. Let's see if there's anything good coming out we can look forward to. From Movie Insider. The Hill, Golda, The Admirer, Whitebird, Gran Turismo, Bottoms, Retribution, The Dive, Retirement Plan, Fremont, Piaf, Bank of Dave, You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, that looked okay, and Vacation Friends 2. Then Deltopia, Slaughterhouse, Clint Miller, Spiderwick, sucks a big fat, Spiderwick, sucks a big fat, I get it. Slaughterhouse is a slasher movie about a woman who, a sorority sister who adopts a sloth and it starts killing everybody. That one looked hilarious, but not, unintentionally hilarious. Live to 100, The Secret Lives of Blue Zones. What the hell is that? One Piece, the series. Choose Love. Finds Finest Kind, Equalizer 3, that looks okay. JC, I think Spiderwick is a book series. I think there's already a movie based on it. Yeah. Clint Miller, A Slow Death. Equalizer 3 looks like it'll be pretty watchable. I don't mind Denzel Washington as the Equalizer. Bottoms, The Good Mother, King of Killers, that looks awful. Ernest and Celestine, A Trip to Giberteria. Nandor Fodor and the Talking Mongoose, that might be good. It's Simon Pegg not being in Star Trek. Clint Miller, Death by Sloth, yes. All Fun and Games, What Doesn't Float, Don't Look Away, A Day and a Half. Legend of the White Dragon, Thirst, that's my movie title, you bastards. Predators, I gotta see what Thirst is. They might have stole my movie. Let me see. Thirst. Do we have a... Don't have a synopsis. Oh, here it is. No. It's different. It's different. It's about insomnia. Aristotle and Dante discover the secret of life. I did see that. That didn't look great. The Nun 2. My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. Poor Things. Good Boy. Megalomaniac. Shadow Island. My Animal. God, these are awful. Americazzi. Joyce Carol Oates. A Body in the Service of Something. It's a documentary. Rotting in the Sun, King on Screen, Wake Up, Stories from the Front Lines of another documentary. Self-Reliance, Sitting in Bars with Cake, looks awful. The Changeling series, Little Jar, The Pilot, After Everything, none of these look good. The Inventor, A Haunting in Venice, that might be okay. I mean, it's Kenneth Branagh. I mean, he's directing it, and he's in it, and he's pretty good. Camp Hideout, Cassandra, that doesn't look good. Lift, The Outlaw Johnny Black, that'll be good. Okay, there it is. That's the guy who does the like Dolomite character doing a western. So that'll be funny. Canary, My Animal, Love at First Sight. El Conde might be good. El Conde is a bizarre movie. It's about what's his name? The guy from Spain, the dictator. What the hell's his name? I can't think of his name. The famous dictator from Spain. It's about him, except it turns out he's a vampire and he's 250 years old. And that's why nobody can kill him, and that's why he's been around so long. That looks like it could be good. I'm not sure. A Million Miles Away looks awful. The Elevator Game, blah. Expendable 4, no. Expendable 4 is absolutely not. What's the name? Megan Fox is in it. Clint Miller, Franco. Franco, yes. Yes, it's Franco from Spain as a vampire. Francisco Franco. They had a great bit on Saturday Night Live back in the day. It was Dan Aykroyd reading the news and saying, this just in, Francisco Franco is still dead. So Expendables 4 does not look good. Based Franco vampire. It's basically what it is. Dumb Money. Was this good? What the hell is this one? It might be okay. I don't know. There's a lot of people in it. My Sailor, My Love, Dark Asset, that doesn't look good. It Lives Inside, meh. Florida Sun, Uncharitable, The Origin of Evil, Barber. Barber looks good. Barber stars Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, and he plays a detective. Looks like it might be the start of a good franchise. The Condition of Return, I Can, Lift, Everybody Dies by the End. That sounds cool. Neither Confirm Nor Deny, Spy Kids Armageddon, no thank you. No One Will Save You, Cassandra, Still Up, a series, that does not look great. The Continental, I have no interest in that. That's a TV show. Paw Patrol, the Mighty Movie, Unidentified, The Tower, and The Job of Songs. This movie looks unintentionally hilarious. It's called Sniper Grit. It stands for Global, I think, Reconnaissance Intelligence Team. And it stars the guy from the Allstate commercials, Dennis Haysert, as the commander who gives them all the missions. But it's basically a low budget version of Mission Impossible, but like it looks like they're about $5 million short to actually make a good movie. Clint Miller, Franco fought the communists in Spain, yet he's the bad guy. Yeah, go figure. He was not a very good person. The Blind, The Creator, that might be good. I don't know. Saw 10, God no. The Kill Room, Untitled Universal Event, Carlos, She Came to Me, Deliver Us, On Fire, Dix the Musical, looks absolutely awful. 57 Seconds, Gen V, the series, Flora and Son again. Clint Miller, Dennis Haysert was in Delta Force. Oh, he was? That's right. Right, before he started doing the commercials. But see, now it's weird. I associate him more with the commercials than anything else. So every time he starts talking on the screen, talking in the trailer. Watch the trailer. It's hilarious, by the way. They've got these bright green uniforms for the bad guys. And you can see them like 2 miles away, and then the sniper guys are eyeing them up. And they've got this like big cartoonish villain who's like the leader of some cult. Man, it looks funny. Oh boy. So that's what's coming out. I mean, the only movie that sounds good in this is maybe that El Conde movie looks really good. And The Equalizer. I think there was one other in that mix. Clint Miller, great voice. His voice, you can't beat. I mean, it's like him, Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime, what's his name? Keith David. Some of these guys just have amazing voices. All right, I'm going to wrap it here because I really got to hit the bathroom. So thanks for tuning in on a live stream where we did it live. Next up, next week, Labor Day weekend, I will be at first the Cherry Street Pier Marketplace in Philadelphia on the 1st. On the 2nd, I'll be at the Berwyn, PA Farmers Market. Clint Miller, James Earl Jones, yeah. And then after that, who knows? I got jury duty at some point. I hope I can get out of that because, man, I can't be in jury duty for a bunch of days. That would ruin things. I got a lot of phone calls to make this week. I don't know about you. It's going to be a crazy week. I got more videos to make tonight, but thanks for tuning in. Any final thoughts before you go? Any suggestions for next week for a theme? Feel free. I'll do a little research maybe, because next week looks like I got all of Sunday off, so I might have some time to do a little research for a change. A little research. I had absolutely no time this weekend, obviously, but so yeah. Little Joan thanks you, right, Little Joan? Oh, you're back in your seat. All right. Little Joan says goodbye, and I'm going to end it here. We'll see you tomorrow.